So I recently picked up a large load of CRTs with some awesome PVMs, BVMs, and some consumer grade televisions. And one of them was this Samsung 14-inch flat screen television from 2003. It's part of their TXN series, and it started to make me remember that I had actually done a full restoration and video on a 27-inch version of this television, and that one was the TXN-2745FP. And this TV was incredible. It actually went all the way up to 1080i, so you even got progressive support out of those component video inputs, and there were no HDMI inputs on the TV at this point. You have to go a little bit further ahead to the next style of Samsung CRTs, and that would have been the Slim Fit, and those had HDMI and HD TV support, so you're getting upscaling through an HDMI port into those TVs. But this one was using component video still, and honestly, the lag on this was pretty much irrelevant on a lot of those video modes. So you could do everything all the way down from 240p on this TV up to 1080i, and it really is one of those maybe Swiss Army style TVs that if you're looking for something that does everything in one, this may be the one for you to keep an eye out for. Again, it's a Samsung TV, and we're going to take a deep dive looking at the hardware. We're going to do some lag testing. We're going to look at some great screenplay footage. It's going to be a great video today, and I hope you enjoy. And if you don't mind, do me a quick favor, hit the like button, and let's take a look at this Samsung TXN-2745FP. We're going to take a look at this Samsung CRT, and it's a bit of a rare one because I've just never seen really this model out. This is one that I found on the side of the road and with other trash. See right here, it's called the Dyna Flat Pro series from Samsung, and it's a 4:3 aspect ratio flat CRT tube. Pretty basic front here with channel, volume, menu controls, and a power button. There is an input on the side here. This tube is actually made by Samsung. I can't see the number without moving that out of the way, but there we have it. A68 QCP 891X04 from Samsung. We have stereo audio with these sound tunnels that try to expand that sound. Here's our connection point to the side input. The boards are all out being serviced currently, and there is still quite a bit of dust to clean out of here. But there's the other speaker. I will tell you, this anode cap, it did not zap when it discharged. When I discharged it the first time, it may have a resistor in it. Here's the deflection yoke. We actually do get some convergence controls right here, where we can use a couple of screwdrivers, or a screwdriver, and adjust some convergence on the set. I believe this is most likely a velocity modulation unit right there. This extra coiling. This connects into the neck board. And this is our CRT electron gun in there. And this is a shadow mask tube, so there's 3 different electron guns, one for each color inside that tube. Here's the circuit boards for this television, and it's a very interesting build out. You have a card right here with actually some logic and quite a bit of SMD capacitors on there, and then a whole unpopulated like zone down here, maybe for other features or a more complex model of this TV, possibly. And then if you look around here, all this is mostly isolated to this single board, except we have, of course, the CRT socket board or neck board. So there you go, that plugs into the CRT socket. You'll see that soon. And then this secondary flyback board where it's got its own, or it's got a transformer down here too, and a couple other parts. But what we have going on here is this is the main flyback, and then this, which would normally just go straight into the tube, it has this breakout assembly. Now there's no adjustment directly on this breakout assembly, but you see it's also got a line feeding back into the main chassis here. This board has been serviced, so we've got new capacitors in about a third of the CRT. There's a lot over here that are all in great shape still and no need to replace, but many in the middle and next to the flyback, for example, down here have been replaced. So all that's good. The solder's nice and good on the bottom, and just thought it was really interesting that we have that dual flyback setup, and all the boards have been reinstalled inside, and we're about to check out some things on the screen and see how it runs now that it's been pretty much fully restored, and everything looks good in here. All the connections are right, the ground loop is good. You can see that fresh solder on there, all cleaned up. So let's see what this amazing CRT is capable of. Okay, one of the great things about this TV is that it has a really awesome service menu, and I'm going to show you how to get inside that service menu right now. First off, you're going to need a controller. It doesn't have to be the OEM controller, but you will need some type of a remote control. I use this RCA 3-in-1 generic remote to do this. We have the set running right now. We're just going to power it down into standby mode, and then we're going to need to do this button combo. We're going to press mute 182 power. So mute 182 power. Now if we look closely here, we have deflection, 480p and 1080i offsets, which actually are their own deflection modes because the deflection comes out differently on the progressive scan mode. Let me get into the deflection menu. So to do that, I should just press volume up or down. There we go. Press volume up or down and it gets you the deflection menu. And this is all the deflection for analog. So you can do all these adjustments. And thankfully, this TV will actually do all these adjustments. So this is a vertical size, vertical center, horizontal size, horizontal center, linearity. All four of those are linearity. This is your pin cushion settings, these four, bow, angle, another vertical position, which is not any different than shift. And then you got your left and right blanking, or black line cutoffs probably. So don't worry about those two at the bottom, but everything else on here is actually adjustable. So that's awesome. Now, when you make a change to the set, all you got to do is press up and down on channel to navigate through this menu. And then when you go into something, let's do something simple, vertical amp, then you could press up or down on the volume to actually make the adjustment. So you see there, as I adjust that, that gets bigger from the remote. Then when you make a change, if you want to go to another one, just press up or down on the channel and you can change through the menu. If you press menu, what happens? We go back to the menu. If we go back to the main menu, again, there's the same kind of settings in the offset. Same exact settings pretty much for 480p. So when you get your 480p signal in there, you can adjust it a little bit. Like for some reason, the horizontal size was a lot larger in 480p mode. So I had to make a downsize to that. Same thing with 1080i, PC offset. I'm not really sure what that one is. Same kind of thing though. And let's see, digital video input. So there's might be DVI modes. I'm imagining that's not really on or working on this set. You have some video adjustments, which these actually will do: cut off, color, sub bright, sub contrast. Yeah, Cole's over there sleeping in that bed, snoring. You can probably hear him in the background over there. So with my remote control, the only way to get out of the sub menu or the service menu is to actually power cycle the TV, and it writes your changes whenever you make a change. So you don't have to go in and tell it to save your changes. Anytime you make a change, thank you, Cole. Anytime you make a change, it will automatically put that in the memory, and all you do is power cycle it and it will stay on the changed setting. You will find yourself probably toying with the geometry a lot on this TV because it's flat glass. So I'm in component video right now, and we're going to start off with 240p. 240p, which is analog video, progressive, and we are getting lag on this CRT under analog video. We're getting 34.4, and it's very solid, so it's not variable lag. But as we go down the screen and it takes longer for that to draw, it's jumping up to the middle of the screen to 40.75, and then we'll jump up another 7 when we get to the bottom of the screen. So we're consistently, getting that lags increasing as we go down this screen, but you are having consistent, stable lag over 240p. And if we switch over to 480i, those numbers are staying really the same. Nothing's going down. It's all stable lag at 34.4.5. Now let's go and switch over to progressive. Now we're in 480p mode on this TV, and let's do the same test. Guys, look at that. No lag in 480p. 0.37. Now if we go down the screen, we're going to do the same thing where we're going to get 7 and then 14 at the bottom. Look at that. So it does take time for it to draw on the screen, but my goodness, if you look at the top of this screen in 480p mode, 0 lag. I'm going to switch over and test the composite video input now, and this should be the same because it's shared with S video. That shouldn't matter, it's just a better signal on analog. Let's see if there's any lag on the analog side where it's just composite video, and it looks like next to nothing. We're up to 7, and then finally, let's see, 14. Let's go up to 240p. Well, let me go to 240p on here. It might have been 480. There we go, 240p. Same thing. Look at that. So no lag really over composite video and S video, and RF I'm sure has no lag too. This thing just adds lag to component analog video. Isn't that funny? That's the only thing that has lag on this TV. Let's take a second to talk about what's going on here. So there's a little bit of latency or lag over analog video using the component video inputs. That's what I was showing at the beginning of that lag test session. So you are getting some solid lag in that display mode on this television. It's consistent, so it's not variable. So a lot of people may not even notice it. If they're using it, you can get kind of used to solid lag, and it's not a huge amount of lag, but there is that latency in that video mode of 240p and 480i over component video. Now, as you saw later on, I tested the analog video over the composite video inputs and the S video input, which is shared, and that didn't have any latency. For some reason, that's just fed straight in. There's no latency, which is great. So it does mean that you can use those lower resolution inputs on this television and use composite, RF, or S-video and get no lag if you're using those modes for the lower analog video. And then if you want to use higher resolutions, you can use the 480p and up modes on the component video inputs on this television, and you can get not only a great picture, but you don't get any latency. So when you play things like Xbox or PlayStation 2 or anything that you can use component video to get up to 1080i, and then you can actually use that with this television and enjoy a lag-free experience. That's pretty special nowadays. There's not a lot that can do both things. And honestly, I haven't researched whether you can do some kind of a RGB modification to this television. Maybe I'll research that with that 14-inch and see if that's possible. And if that's possible and you could bypass that component video input and add an RGB into this television, then you could probably get the best of everything by adding SCART and then having high resolution analog video in 240p and 480i and not have to worry about lag. But I do not know that. I did not research that with this particular 27-inch television that you watched in today's video. There is going to be some wonkiness, obviously, on the geometry sometimes because it's a flat tube. Aside from that, it does look really good. Now, I also noticed that when I was using the service menu, there were some DVI listed modes, so maybe that unpopulated portion of the board we saw at the beginning of the video when we were looking at the hardware, possibly if that's populated, you might find a different model of this TV that has a DVI in, and then may even have more modes on the video available. And if so, it would be great to test that DVI input for latency. But again, this model did not have it. So if you end up seeing a model with a DVI input, it may be even better than this one. Anyway, that's a lot of info on this really cool Samsung. And what did you guys think of this TV? And is it look cool enough for you to add to your hunt list? I do like that you can find it in probably a 14-incher like the one I have shown you earlier. And I'm glad that I have that one. The 27-inch one is gone. A Patreon member bought it shortly after I restored it and did all the filming, and so they've been happy with it. It's an awesome TV, and that's it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, do me a favor, leave a like below. If you need any information about getting CRTs worked on or want to support the CRT adventurous business of retro tech, there's more information in the description of this video on the Patreon account. That's how you get your CRTs serviced by me as you go through Patreon if you need to get CRTs worked on in the shop here. Until next time, friends, I'll see you all with some more retro content.